A Bronx mother of 3 made a shocking call to 911 when she found her 6-year-old daughter unresponsive and cold to the touch in the middle of the night. She told the operator that she tried performing CPR to resuscitate her daughter, that's 6-year-old Jalea Eason. Paramedics rushed to the home. They transported Jalea to Lincoln Hospital, but unfortunately, the 6-year-old was unable to be saved and was pronounced deceased at the hospital. Jalea was in good health. She didn't have a life-threatening illness, so what could have been the cause of her passing? When investigators entered the family's apartment and medical staff examined her body, they quickly put 2 and 2 together, leading them to question the one person responsible for Jalea, the person that she was under the sole possession, supervision, and care of. That would be her mother.
Hey girl. Hey girl.
Hi.
Is your birthday?
Uh-huh.
Why you look weird? Hey birthday girl.
Hi.
Give me a piece on. Ooh.
Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates. If you're watching from the Bronx, let me know below.
311 has been there for you. I often say that here in New York, we have 8.5 million people and 35 million opinions. And we love to share those opinions with 311, no matter what they are.
If you looked at her Facebook recently, life seemed to be going well for Lanaya Eason. In May 2023, she talked a lot about her new job and posted about kindness and compassion. The 26-year-old single mother of 3 wrote this message. She said, "I'm just up thinking like how deep I was really in the streets, literally in my living room cooking up, to now being a whole New York City agent with a whole 401k and everything. God gonna do it every time." She was very proud of her transition from being a trap queen in her apartment, cooking up illegal substances, to now having a legit job as a 311 operator. In her new position, she was responsible for answering calls on the non-emergency city government line, where individuals can make complaints, ask questions about government programs, maybe even find help with understanding their high tax bill. The average salary is $50,000 per year, and they offered benefits as well. It was a positive move in the right direction for the 26-year-old, as she had sole custody of her 3 children, a 3-year-old girl, 6-year-old Jalea, and an 8-year-old boy. With all the kindness and compassion she spoke about on Facebook, you would think the 3 children were all in a loving environment with a kind mother.
I always see her with her kids. She took them to school, brought them back. I'm on a PTA, I always see her. So I didn't expect for her to have problems like that, to be honest with you.
Authorities revealed the truth though. The kids were in a filthy environment, they weren't being taken care of properly, their mother was extremely aggressive and always putting hands on them, leaving them all with marks, bruises, and scars. Every last one of them. Then Friday, May 26, 2023, at 3:42 a.m., a neighbor who lived in their building said that he heard Jalea screaming for her life. He said, quote, "She was screaming for dear life. She was screaming like..." She kept saying, "Stop, stop, stop. You could hear the thumps, bro." Then not long after, around 4 a.m., Lanaya called 911 to report that her daughter was unresponsive and cold. She told officers that she found Jalea inside of a closet in their 12th floor apartment at the New York City Housing Authority's Forest Houses. That's a housing project in the Bronx. EMS arrived 15 minutes later and rushed little Jalea to Lincoln Hospital. That's where she was pronounced deceased. Medical staff discovered lots of bruises on her body, and when authorities entered the apartment where Jalea was staying with her mother and siblings, they found it in a state of dire neglect, with a strong stench of urine and feces. The apartment covered in trash, with open food on the floor rotting throughout the apartment, clothes all over the place, and dirty soiled bedding on the children's beds. Injuries were also observed on Jalea's brother and sister.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know this.
The shock spread through the building, residents reacting to the news that a 6-year-old girl showing signs of abuse died this morning.
Devastated, just to see a little kid and to know it happened here.
She was found dead. Shocking and so hurting, you know? Poor baby.
Detectives poured out of the building in the Forest houses in Morrisania, their investigation in full swing. It started with a 911 call at 4 a.m. The girl's mother told police she found her daughter unconscious and tried to administer CPR. But police say Jalela Eason had bruises on her body and trauma to her wrists. A downstairs neighbor says she often heard crying coming from the apartment above.
The little girl played around and then the mother would hit her.
Apartment 12G, which police describe as squalid, remains off limits. Police say the woman's two other children, ages 3 and 8, also had evidence of bruising.
I always see her with her kids. She took them to school, brought them back. I'm on a PTA. I always see her. So I didn't expect for her to have problems like that, to be honest with you.
The other two children are in the custody of ACS. Police continue to question the girl's mother as they await the results of an autopsy.
The mother was questioned by authorities. She was then arrested and charged with harming her other two children. Get this though. After they charged her with misdemeanors, they released her from jail and placed her on an electronic monitor. Never mind Jalea's body was over there, lifeless. They allowed the person that everybody pointed at as responsible to be released from jail. Her mother able to walk the streets with blood on her hands. Not to mention, Lanaya had a history of this behavior in endangering her children. Jalea's 8-year-old brother told his classmate that his mother was whipping him and slapping him. The school even reported long stretches of absences by the boy. They said that his mother would always pick him up from school more than an hour late, and that she sent him to school wearing the same dirty clothes every day. He reportedly smelled like urine. Once the 8-year-old came to school bruised and with a swollen face and told his teacher that his mother had punched him and kicked him for drinking out of the sink. It's believed that school officials alerted the ACS. That's when a worker at the Administration for Children's Services went to their home. They listened to the boy's account, and instead of having sympathy for Jalea's brother, the worker had more sympathy for Lanaya, the mother who explained to the worker that she had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder but was not being treated. When authorities finally stepped in, that's after Jalea's death, they examined her brother's body. They found countless lacerations and various stages of healing on the 8-year-old boy's back, scalp, arms, and legs. They also examined Jalea's 3-year-old little sister, who had widespread discolored rashes on her lower body and a long discolored scar on her waist. All of the children, including Jalea, had signs of being restrained.
Medical examiner's office is yet to determine the cause of death of the 6-year-old who died in the Bronx Friday.
Her mother has been charged with endangering the welfare of her 2 other children. And as CBS 2's Alice Gaynor reports, more charges could follow.
Community members and tenants of this building at Forest Houses released balloons Monday afternoon in honor of 6-year-old Jalea Eason.
This little light of mine.
26-year-old Lanaya Eason was questioned here at the 42nd Precinct and charged over the weekend with acting in a manner injurious to a child less than 17 years old. Police say it was due to significant past injuries to her 2 other children, ages 8 and 3, and also because of the condition of the home, which was not habitable for a child and lacked proper food. The 12th floor apartment has since been bolted shut by police. Eason was arraigned and released with an ankle monitor. The Administration for Children's Services said in a statement, quote, "The safety and well-being of New York City's children is our top priority. We are investigating this case with the NYPD. The safety of the other children in the home has been secured." Sources say Eason has 2 prior ACS cases involving her son, and police have responded in the past for domestic disturbances, though we do not know specifics.
We know ACS is overwhelmed.
Stephanie McGraw is the founder of domestic violence group We All Really Matter, or WARM.
People become numb. So we're here today to say, wake up. You had an opportunity to save a life. We had an opportunity to save a life.
Outside the complex, a growing memorial filled with candles and messages to the child. Many who didn't even know her felt compelled to come and share this message with others.
If you see something, say something.
In the Morrisania section of the Bronx, Alice Gaynor, CBS 2 News.
At the time of this video, Lanaya is only facing 2 misdemeanor charges. That's against her 3-year-old daughter and her 8-year-old son. They arrested the mother the day after Jalea died on May 27th at 9 a.m. and she was let go on supervised release. They placed an ankle monitor on the 26-year-old, but as of now, there's been no justice for Jalea. Outside of the TikTok community, no one is really speaking up for Jalea. No one is saying protect black girls. It's like they don't care about protection for Jalea. And I wonder why. You had a lot of people who blamed the neighbors. They said they didn't do anything to protect Jalea. Even in the NY Post, they quoted one woman saying the neighbors should have banged on the door. If you live anywhere in the country where people are encouraged to use their Second Amendment, New York isn't one of those places, but I still wouldn't advise anyone to ever go banging on somebody's door, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, what are you talking about? Call the police, that's fine. But to go over to somebody's house, they're crazy as I don't know what, you don't know what's going on, and just start banging on their door? I just don't know what people are smoking these days. I don't know how that made sense. But from my understanding, the school did report the mother to ACS involving the 8-year-old boy. And when the worker came out there to the house, that social worker went into protection mode, all right? But once again, it was the mother being protected. And that's the cold hard truth that no one is talking about here. Clearly, the mother's protection was more important than the 8-year-old boy's protection. The mother's protection was more important than the 3-year-old girl's protection. And it's very clear that the mother's protection trumps 6-year-old Jalea's protection, as she's out here free with an ankle monitor and Jalea is no longer here. The blame here is definitely on the mother, but I also have to put some responsibility on ACS. They got the alerts from the school. They heard what the boys said. That worker who interviewed them knew that the mother was up there beating on all of them. They didn't want her to get locked up and they didn't want to take her kids from her. I thought these agencies were supposed to protect children, but all they did here was protect the mother. They ignored the cries of all 3 children. Allowing modern women to run free like this and constantly covering for them is hurting everyone, including their own children. That's who they're hurting the most, and they are the least protected out of everyone, since we're talking about protection. How do you see all of this, then one of her kids ended up lifeless and you let her out of jail? This is horrible. RIP to baby girl Jalea, sending prayers to her little sister and her brother. No one knows where they are either, by the way. ACS just told everybody that they're in a safe place. I do wonder, where are the fathers of the children? What was the relationship there? Who are these guys, or who was the guy? The mother says she was in the streets. She talked about how she used to cook up illegal substances in that same dirty apartment that she kept her children. So there's no telling what type of men she was dealing with and who she got pregnant by. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. How long do you think it will take for them to charge her mother in Jalea's death? And why is the Protect Black Girls crowd not interested in justice for Jalea? Shout out to Darren for sending this story in. Special thanks to Eric J. I appreciate you, Eric, as well as Randy. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.
Hey, girl. Hey, girl.
Hi.
Is your birthday?
Uh-huh.
Why you look weird? Hey, birthday girl.
Hi.
Give me a peace on.